Hi everyone. So this question here says that given that AB is equal to 12, right there, CD is equal to 15, okay, that's right there. What is it? We got DA is equal to 14 and BD is equal to 10. Find the value of X. We're looking for this side right here. Okay, now we've got two triangles butted up against each other here, and this is the one that we're looking for. This is the triangle really that we want to work with right here. We don't have enough information, okay, to work in this particular little triangle here. Or even if we decided to work with a big triangle here, we still don't have enough information. In order to do anything reasonable with a triangle here, you have to have at least 3 bits of information. We do, however, have 3 bits of information for this triangle right here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to figure out something that's missing here. Now, the only thing that we're really poised to do here is to figure out a missing angle. And I tell you what, just for convenience sake here, what we'll do here, and I think this is the way most people would see it. There's a couple of ways you can do this. I mean, you could see this as your first triangle and see this really big one as your second triangle. But I think most people, what they would do here is they would make this their little theta right there. They'd solve for this one and then use that to figure out this angle. So let's do that. So now we've got the 3 sides of the triangle here. To figure out what theta is, okay, theta is going to be the inverse cosine of 10 squared plus 14 squared minus 12 squared all over 2 times 10 times 14. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to enter that in basically exactly the way I just saw that. So I'm going to do the inverse cosine. I'm going to put a set of brackets around for the numerator because I want to make sure that I separate the numerator from the denominator. So that's going to be 10 squared plus 14 squared minus 12 squared. Close the brackets for the denominator, divided by. Now, because there's multiple factors in the denominator, I got to open up the brackets again. Because if I don't, then here I'm going to have 2 times 10 times 14. If I don't put parentheses around that, the calculator will only see it as being divided by 2, and then it'll multiply everything by 10 and 14, and then you're going to get an error. Okay? But if I do it like this, calculator understands, press enter, and I got 0.9969. Now that suggests to me something went awry here. So what I'm going to do is just check my mode. Whoops, check my mode. Ah, there it is. Good. That's in radian mode. I need to be in degree mode. See, that number there really makes no sense. Now, don't enter that in again. Okay, press second enter. And what that does is it rewrites that whole term there. Now, if I press enter again, it pulls it up here and I got 57 degrees. Now, I'm going to write down here on my sheet of paper here that theta is equal to 57 degrees. Now, I'm going to find, and I'm going to maybe relabel this as alpha here. Whoops. Relabel this as alpha. I'm going to find alpha here. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to leave that number on my calculator. I'm not going to remove that. Now, look at theta and alpha. What can you tell me about the relationship between those two? Well, you should see fairly clearly that those two add up to 180, which means that alpha is going to be 180 degrees minus theta. So let's just go to this calculator here and we'll say 180 minus that answer. Oh, and I'm going to get 123 when I round it. Now I'm still going to leave that in there. I'm going to come back to this in just a second. That's 123 degrees. All right, so this angle right here is 123. Now I'm going to use that to find my x. Well, what rule am I going to use to find that? Well, I'm probably going to use the cosine rule because I've got the 2 sides here. I'm looking for the side opposite the angle that I've got here. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to get x squared is going to equal 10 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 10, 10 times 15 times the cosine of my angle, which in this case was 123. Now I'm not going to use 123. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I go to my calculator here, I'm going to enter, actually, I'll do it like this, 10 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 10 times 15 times the cosine of that angle, that answer. I'm going to leave it in there right there. Don't do anything else. Put that there. Boom. and I get 487.9 roughly. I'm still going to leave that number in there. So x squared is equal to 487.9 roughly. That's still not my answer for x. I have to remember that when I'm using the cosine law, and I use the cosine law for both of those, for both parts of this, for this one right here and for this one. I hope that was recognizable here. I take the square root of both sides. Again, I've left that number in there, so I'm simply going to say take the square root of my answer one more time, and I get 22.1. That's the value that I'm looking for in this particular problem, 22.1.